card spending continued to slip in January as households tightened their purse strings amid an economic slowdown, with lodging and restaurant spending falling 1.8% year on year.
경기 침체로 가계 소비가 얼어붙으면서 올해 1월에도 주요 업종의 카드 매출이 감소한 가운데 숙박, 음식점업의 경우 작년 같은 달 대비 카드 매출이 1.8% 줄어든 것으로 나타났습니다.
Yep.
So less spending then.
Yeah. So it sounds like South Koreans tightened their wallets in January with credit card spending slipping across the board amid economic uncertainty.
Yeah.
So looking at the stats, they show that spending for lodging and restaurants fell 1.8% to 12.27 trillion won. And they're saying that it's still feeling the effects of President Yoon's impeachment turmoil. Spending for transportation also dropped 7.6% on year to 1.65 trillion won. Spending on healthcare and social welfare had a slight dip of 1.1% to 6.01 trillion won. Spending on leisure, sports, and arts went down 1.7% to 980 billion won. And spending on education surprisingly fell 5.5% on year to 1.74 trillion won. And this was quite surprising because they say it's the first decline since the pandemic or since January of 2021. They say that the economy did grow slightly at 2% last year, but a lot of challenges do remain because domestic demand is sluggish, exports are struggling, and of course, U.S. tariffs are adding a lot more uncertainty. The Bank of Korea cut its 2024 growth forecast to 1.5% from 1.9%, possibly marking the first time that the growth rate will dip below 2%.
So many reasons you just mentioned there. One
Yep.
would be the geopolitical situation right now.
Uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty, yeah.
And politics, of course, plays a
Of
big
course.
role in the economy. We're talking about not only domestic politics, but, the U.S. and its policies as well that you mentioned there.
But I was really surprised that spending on education fell because that's one area that usually people still spend a lot of money on here.
Yeah, well, the economy just in general is not great.
Yeah.
And so I suppose that
You have
had
to-
something to do with parents spending less on education.
Tighten your belt.
For the
Right.
children. Yeah.
Right.
All right, so you just said tighten your belt, but the expression used in the headline is to tighten your purse strings.
That's right. That's another expression that a lot of people use to say that you are making less money available for spending or restricting the amount of money that is available to be spent. So in other words, you're just saving. You're restricting how much money you can spend.
자, 지갑을 뜻하는 단어 월렛도 있지만 purse라는 단어도 있습니다. 대체적으로 성별에 따라 좀 다르게 표현을 하기도 하고 시대별로도 다르게 표현을 해서 purse라는 표현을 요즘 잘 많이 쓰진 않는 것 같아요. 그리고 또 남성들은 잘 안 쓰는 것 같고.
A man purse, yeah.
잘 안 쓰지만 뭐 쓸 수는 있습니다. 근데 어쨌든 지갑이란 뜻이에요.
Yep.
더 많이 쓰는 표현은 wallet가
Yeah.
되겠죠.
Yeah.
자, 근데 지갑에 있는 끈, purse strings. 이게 이제 옛날식으로 말하자면 돈주머니인데 돈주머니의 끈을 tighten, 조인다. 그러니까 여기서 돈을 좀 안 꺼내려고 하는 거겠죠. 네, 그래서 지출을 줄인다, 뭐 지갑을 닫는다 이렇게 해석을 할 수 있겠습니다. 그 다음에는 이제 뭐 아까 tighten your belt 이런 얘기도 했는데 뭐 허리띠를 조여매다.
Yep,
그것도
yep.
마찬가지죠. 다
Yeah.
영어로도 똑같이 표현을 하고.
It's tightening everything.
Yeah, that's right. Tighten. 여기서 tighten 해도 되지만 이렇게 북미식으로 가운데 T는 좀 잘 안 들리게
Yeah.
tighten 이렇게 영국에서도 그러네요. 생각해 보니까 네, 이렇게 발음 많이 하고. 자, 스펜딩이 줄어든 분야 중에 하나가 바로 lodging입니다.
Right, so that means people were traveling less probably because lodging is a place in which someone lives or stays temporarily. So it would be referring to hotels or any sort of accommodation that you don't live in permanently.
That's right. Lodging, lodging. 이거는 이제 accommodation이랑 같은 의미로 여기서는 쓰였습니다. 숙소가 되겠어요. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Card spending continued to slip in January as households tightened their purse strings amid an economic slowdown, with lodging and restaurant spending falling 1.8% year on year. Let's move on to the next headline.